Hey guys, Knives Galore here, and today I just wanted to kind of share some thoughts just while I was sanding. I've got very little to do. I just need to finish up this kukri sanding, which I promised I'd do for the next video. So I'm just going to be doing some sanding, and I wanted to share some thoughts about knife making and kind of stuff I've learned, and you know, maybe you could get something from if you listen to it. If you don't, that's fine. But I wanted to say it anyway, you know, just about general knife making, why you do it, what's the point, kind of the reasons why you should make things with your hands, and you know, not just sit inside and do nothing. I mean, it's very liberating to make things with your hands. You get a massive sense of accomplishment when you do. I mean, there's nothing compared to like finally finishing that project, and you're just finishing sharpening it, and then you cut your first bit of paper with it, and it's just so satisfying. There's nothing better. And the knives I make, they're not the best knives in the world, but they are my favourite knives. All of them. Every single one I make is my favourite knife, because I absolutely love them. They're the kind of, every single knife I make is a new accomplishment. It's a little achievement you get, and when you've been doing it for a while, your knives might get better and better, and you'll look at your first knife and go, I'm still really proud that I made that. Eventually I will show my first knife and you'll all laugh at me, but you do get a massive sense of accomplishment, which is really, really nice actually to have. I mean, if you're a craftsman or whatever trade you're from, it's always really nice just to have that sense of accomplishment after you finish something. And this is sketchy. Ooh. There we go. So whatever field you're from, it's always good to finally finish something, and you know, getting it done makes you feel good. It's the same with knife making. When you finally finish that knife, it's really nice, and you remember having to make it, and you remember all the times you thought, I really just want to give up, and you didn't. And it's a nice feeling to know that you actually kind of persisted through it. And it just really hurts your hands, all this, but you know, it's just fun. I mean, if you don't like it, no one cares except you, essentially. So if you don't like it, fine, that's okay. If you do like it, good for you. Make more knives. But as long as you don't try and say you're doing things that you're actually not. I say I'm a forger. I'm not a forger. I'm straight up lying if I said that. So just stick to what you know for now until you really feel like you've mastered what you know. Then you can move on to other stuff. And don't lie to people when they ask what you do. I mean, when people say, hey, you make knives, I go, yeah. They go, oh, do you like hit it with a hammer? No, I don't. I don't know how to do that. I'm very incompetent when it comes to that. But I can grind. That's about it. Can you bevel with a belt grinder? Not really. I think I've done one successful V-grind on a belt grinder, and I was the luckiest person on planet Earth when I finished it. It was very satisfying, but it's the same when it comes to designing your own knives as well. Like, stay true to who you are in that sense of don't copy people. It's like, I don't understand when people say, can I have the design of that knife so that or like a template of that knife or something? I don't understand it, because it's like you had no input on the knife. You're essentially just making it. You're no different to a factory. It doesn't seem fair, almost, that you're just taking all the hard work that the person who designed that knife did, you know, that went into it. I mean, fair enough, taking inspiration, that's not what I'm getting at here. If you take inspiration from someone, that's fine. You know, you're not copying the knife exactly. You can get a feel for the knife and then add your own little touch to it. But copying it's not something that you should really get into the habit of doing in knife making. I mean, I can't say that I'm completely free from this. I have copied a couple of knives, not exactly from a template, but I've kind of changed the scale a little bit, but that's pretty much it. I basically copied them. So, and I didn't feel good about it afterwards. Every time I look at those knives afterwards, I just go, well, not quite as proud of them as the rest of my knives, because I only had half the input essentially on that knife itself. So, I mean, it's like this kukri here. I checked with the customer and all, and we kind of designed it together. He gave me kind of like a child's drawing of what he wanted it to be. And I went, okay, I took kind of the base principle he was going with. Then I kind of put my own little spin on it, you know, and then I showed him the design I'd come up with, and he went, yeah, that's cool, do that. So you have to have some input on the knives you're making, really, otherwise they kind of end up being very soulless at the end of the knives, you know, there's no character to them. But say if a customer wanted me to copy a design exactly, I would. I mean, if they were very kind of set on this one design and they drew everything out, they got all the dimensions for me, sure, I'd do it. I wouldn't be happy about it, but I'd do it. And, you know, provided I never have to saw the knife again, yeah, I'd do it, but I don't know, it seems very false to copy and not have any input on your own knife designs. And I don't know, it's just not something I've ever been comfortable with, so to speak. So that's just, I don't know, one reason why I like to come up with my own knife designs, and I've got a little book of knife designs. You know, you should just sit there with a little book, get a little kind of notepad type thing, and just draw a load of knives. They don't have to be good, they don't have to be to scale, they don't have to be templates, they could just be ideas. I've got plenty of ideas I'm never going to make. I've got a couple of ideas I've turned into other ideas that I have made. Like, I don't know, there's one knife that I'm making at the moment. I took the inspiration of a jump knife that Simple Little Life made. I've kind of done my own thing with it. I've done kind of similar ideas, similar principles, but I've changed everything else about it, you know. And that's kind of what knife making's about, taking other people's ideas or your own ideas and just going, right, well, how can we mess with them? How can we change them up to be something different? And if you can do that, you've essentially cracked knife making, and all you've got to do after that is kind of the physical aspect of it, of knowing how to hold your angles for beveling, knowing how to, you know, what to do when, the order of things. Once you've got that though, it's very easy to make high quality knives as long as you put the time and effort into it. I mean, I'm a firm believer of the fact that anyone can make a knife. You put enough effort into it, you can definitely make a knife. I mean, it's not difficult in that sense. It's just having the knowledge in there and kind of the willpower to do it. I mean, when I first started, I knew nothing. I literally wandered out to my shed, grabbed the first piece of metal I saw and went, right, I'm going to make a knife out of this. It wasn't the right metal. The bevel was about 1/2 mil. It was basically a block. And, yeah, it generally wasn't a very good knife. I left scratches on it. The bevels didn't meet up. Yeah, it was a very low quality blade, to be honest. But I was proud of it when I finished it. I took a picture and showed all my friends. And they said, what the hell is this? What the hell have you done? That doesn't look like it would work. It didn't. Now it lives in my drawer upstairs in my room, where it reminds me of what not to do. But still, your first knife, it's probably not going to work. I mean, my first couple didn't work. I was getting very frustrated until eventually I did get one knife that did actually function. And the feeling you get when you finish that is amazing. And the feeling you get when you fail a knife is even worse. You're like, oh, failed another one. But as long as you persist, you'll be alright. There's no reason why you shouldn't, essentially. The other question I get a lot is it expensive? Yes and no. No, if you're pretty much first getting into it, and say if you come from a family that's already pretty orientated toward craftsmanship or some kind of industry. Like my family's big on engineering, so we already had a bench vise, we have a shed to do it in, we have, you know, a drill, we have stuff like that. And if you don't have that, it's gonna be kind of expensive to start doing it. But then after that, once you've got all the immediate stuff, no, it's not going to be expensive. I mean, you can buy a piece of 01 tool steel for 20 quid, and you can get maybe 6 or 7 knives out of it. It's pretty good in that sense. And yeah, it's going to cost you a bit once you start doing stuff like upgrading your stuff. Like, first thing I did was think, right, what could I spend my money on? Because this is just after I'd started earning money as well, and I kind of went a little bit money crazy and just started buying everything I thought would help. So, you know, in that sense, it was a bad move on my part, but as long as you're sensible with it, it shouldn't cost you very much at all. It depends which aspect you want to get into as well. I mean, stock removal, like I do, it can be expensive and not expensive. If you wanna buy a, you know, £3 belt grinder, you can go buy one if you've got the money. I mean, why not? But if you don't want to do that, you can just buy a high quality file, a bench vise, maybe a pillar drill, and that'll probably do you. You can make knives just with that, pretty much. And, you know, aside all the other stuff like sharpening and the materials you need and things like that, you should be pretty much set to just start. And it shouldn't be too expensive for you. But that's just a bit of advice I wanted to give, as I'm very bored at the moment, just sanding, so I'm starting to think about doing this a bit more, just kind of talking about knives and maybe just stuff about knife making. I don't want to get too personal, I just want to talk about knives and things. That's kind of the aim of this. I'm not going to be a smoked weed for first time life story, anything like that. It's just going to be me. It's just going to be me talking about knives. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I probably won't do them very often, but maybe if you like me doing this kind of thing, I might do it a little bit more, you know. If I get more than half a view, I'll do it. Yeah, drop me a comment if you liked it. Then when I look at this video in 2 days and it has no comments, I'll never go on YouTube again, I promise. And other than that, I appreciate you watching this video and actually getting to this stage. I mean, Jesus, I've talked for about 14 minutes, that's pretty nuts, but anyway, I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me ramble on about stuff that doesn't really matter, and I'll see you guys in the next video.